Hey everyone, my name is Tegan and welcome back to TandeWrites, where today we're going to be wrapping up all the reading I did in November. This is my most successful reading month to date, with I think a total of 12 books read, and like a pretty even split between formats for once, which is very impressive for me. We have 4 library ebooks, 3 audiobooks, 3 physical, and then 2 just like regular ebooks. They were reading for the BBMYA competition. That's what that was. I always go and start with my moods as if they're going to be different one month, but as usual we have emotional, mysterious and adventurous at the top, dark's up there. For this month we have a bit more hopeful, funny, reflective, light-hearted, some more pleasant moods in there, which I think are predominantly... I had a couple like more middle grade books in the mix this month, so I think that's where that's coming from. As usual, predominantly fantasy, predominantly young adult and LGBT. Some contemporary in there, some magical realism. There's a horror on there. Which one of these was horror? Oh, I remember which one's horror. Then my average rating was 3.5 stars. I think... I was going to say 2 of them haven't been rated. 2 of them I haven't rated on Goodreads, as they were reads for the competition, BBMYA, and the scores and the judges' feedback isn't announced until later on. But no, I had a very lovely, satisfying, symmetrical pyramid of ratings this month. You know, average rating 3.5. I have a new favourite. I had a lot of good reads overall, and I'm happy with that. So let's talk about some individual books. This month I've been on the quest to read every Neil LaCour young adult book. Last month I read Hold Still, because I believe it's going to be a comparison title to a book I'm currently working on, even though it's too old. But I wanted to read all of her young adult works to see if I can compare myself, you know, tone-wise, thematically, compare us as authors rather than individual books. So this month I read Everything Leads to You, Watch Over Me, and We Are Okay. I really enjoyed a lot of Everything Leads to You. It was less, you know, sad and dark. It still has some, like, dark moments or about character backstory, but it was less sad than, and, like, mental health driven than the other books are. I mean, out of the 4 total. And this one, I think all of her books, the character has like a creative interest. So in Hold Still, it was photography. Everything Leads to You, it is film. And as a film and photography girly, these books are very special to me because of that. And I'm also completely obsessed with like the new revamped cover art. I think they're US exclusive. So when I want to buy these books, I'm getting them imported because I need physical copies. I think I gave pretty much all of them in like 3.5 star ratings. And I enjoyed them. They didn't like blow my minds, but they did what I wanted them to do, and I think that's very important to recognise in a book. So yeah, really enjoyed Everything Leads to You. Really enjoyed We Are Okay. That is the classic, I think that is her most popular work, of the girl, her best friend, who she's kind of like cut herself off from, a like forced proximity in a snowstorm. Terrible explanations. And then Watch Over Me, I read the description and it still ended up not being what I thought. It's a girl who, I guess, has gone into foster care at some kind of farm, and there's ghosts there. There's like a supernatural element to this book that I think I grasp abstractly. But in terms of my ranking, I think my ranking also aligns with which ones I think are the closest comparisons to the book I'm writing. So Hold Still number 1, We Are Okay number 2, Everything Leads to You number 3, Watch Over Me number 4. But again, I enjoyed all of them. Next up, I have Undine's Blessing and Bad Grains, both of which are books I read in one day each, as they're under 200 pages, and these are my competition books, so I won't talk about them in huge detail now, mostly because I'm not allowed to, but they'll have their own moment at a later date. But I enjoyed them. They had like a younger tone. Bad Grains was a middle grade set in Germany, and that was like very fun for me to read. I really enjoyed that. In terms of audiobooks, I read The Midnight Lie, I think last month. So I read The Hollow Heart to like round out my reread of that duology. Enjoyed it less than I did the first time around, which is again the experience I had when reading The Midnight Lie. But I still enjoyed it, just less so. I think these books don't translate hugely well to audiobook, as it's so much internal monologue and conflict. It makes sense in my mind. The next audiobook was Dark, which is book 6 in the Septimus Heap series, which... where are they? They're here. They're up here. Dark's actually not here, it's down here because it's not shiny and matching. And this is a book... the other Septimus Heap books, the first 5, I had like some abstract memory of what happened in them when I read them 10 years ago. Dark, I remember completely nothing. And again, it is, as it says, significantly darker thematically. Still a middle grade wizard book, but darker thematically. And I think it works for me as, now an older reader and revisiting the story. There's something for everyone there. And I remember nothing about dark, but there's one more book in this series called Fire, which I own in the new covers rather than the beautiful shiny gold ones. And I'm not convinced I've read it because I have zero memory of dark, negative memories of Fire. So I think I'm just going to reread my hardcover and see if I've actually ever read this book. But yeah, that's on my TBR for next year, to finally finish this series after so many years. Let's finish off my audiobooks. House of Hollow by Crystal Sublime was the final one. It's a book I read a while ago. I'm reading it via audiobook mostly because it's short. It's 7, maybe 8 hours long. And because I'm currently working on the sequel to my Beautiful Foresty book, and House of Hollow was a little bit of inspiration, thematically the similar vibes, similar descriptions there. I reread that to, keep triggering inspiration for reading my sequel. And again, still enjoyed it. I think I might have given it 5 stars the first time I read it. It probably wasn't 5 stars around this time, because I think reading it for the first time relies a lot on you not knowing what's happening. And the plot twists and the big reveals are a lot more impactful when you don't know what's going on. But what I do appreciate during this second read is that I can truly understand the foreshadowing and the framework that's been laid for these plot twists to make sense. So the first time round, maybe it felt like it's coming out of nowhere. But reading it again, I understand. I get this book on a whole new level now. And then going into physical books, we have Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. I read the paperback version, but I think... Oh, it's here. I thought I wedged it into my shelf, but it's right behind me, because I accidentally got 2 copies, because I just forgot I pre-ordered this one. And this, it says on the front, there's a princess trapped in the tower, this isn't her story. And I read all the descriptions, I knew exactly what I was getting into when I picked this book up, and yet I know nothing. Wonderful, wonderful tiny little book. Beautiful, stunning, perfect. I'm really loving novellas recently. And I think I'm just so completely enchanted by everything T. Kingfisher writes that I don't know, would I enjoy this story as much as someone else wrote it? Probably not. But I discovered T. Kingfisher. I say discovered. She came into my life the start of January 2024 and is now you can see I've got a couple of her books now. While this one might not be, it's not a favourite, it's not Nettle and Bone, it's not The Hollow Places, it's not a favourite, but it's, I would say fun. It's a bit too dark to come into fun, but it's still really enjoyable, and there's that sense of humour that really stands out about her work that I love. So really love this. The other T. Kingfisher book was A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which I think is a middle grade. I don't know if it was independently published by her, because I think the copyright is credited to her Instagram username, which is Red Wombat Studio rather than the publisher. So I need to learn some more about what's going on there. But middle grade, it's equally fun and as dark as her other books. I think we're set in a kingdom where very few people have magic and they're being targeted. So we have this girl, she is 14, her name escapes me. But she ends up being the last wizard remaining in this kingdom. But she only has the power over dough and baking. She's a baking wizard. And she has to help save the kingdom. Because of course she has to. She's the only wizard left. And again, terrible explanation. But dear Lord, this is a fun book. Then we come into a very impressive thing, because we have 2 books that came out recently and I've actually read them close to release date. We have The Wild Huntress by Emily Lloyd-Jones, and I'm completely obsessed with her, and slightly devastated that this one didn't have the Owl Crate Special Edition to match. Down, right behind me here, I have the lovely white covers, but now this one doesn't match, so I think I have to buy the original, the black and the blue covers of the Bone Houses and the Drownwoods for them to match. I will have a full review coming for this book soon. Sometime, I think it's in December, because it might be my least favourite out of the 3 Welsh folklore books. Still very fun. Some new things to talk about here thematically. But I will say this is a book that I thought at one point was going to end in polyamory, and instead it ended in death. And I'm still lightly devastated by this, to the point where I'm not going to talk about it now, because I'm going to get angry. So there's a whole review coming for this one soon. And then the final book I read this month, I always, since that one time I forgot a book, I'm always checking this to see And okay, there's only one more book on here, but I'm still currently reading it because I'm filming this November 29th and I'm not going to be finished with it before November's up. Also, there's 1 month left of my reading journal and I don't have a new one, so I think I say this, I think, every month wrap up, I'm making my own reading journal. But yeah, final book I read this month was A Dark and Giant High by Alison Sath. This is the beautiful, stunning Illumicrate version. I think I've got a whole unboxing of this somewhere on this channel. And I also do have like the Waterstones edition, but I don't think I need both. I might sell the other one because this beautiful, stunning show-stopping. Also, we'll have a full review coming at sometime in January, I think, for this one. Because this was my 5-star read of the month. Well, 5 stars on Goodreads, 4.5 on Storygraph, so I'm still saying my 5 stars for like the perfect read. My only issue with this book is such a silly little thing. I'll open it up. The characters are called Sylvia and Lorelei, or Lorelei. But in my head, this one should be Sylvia, this lovely dark-haired girl, and this little blonde girl should be Lorelei. But it's not, it's the other way around. And for some reason that irrationally upsets me. I don't know why I think this, but I'm reading the book, I'm reading the descriptions, and my brain's like, no. Ignore the text. So yeah, my only flaw with the reading experience is that my own brain has decided the characters should be switched. That's not why it's not a full 5 stars. So yeah, that is every book I read this month, including 3 physical books, none of which were on the TBR I set myself for the start of the year, by the way. These are new acquisitions from recently, because I'm doing terrible on that goal. Physical TBR, still expanding, still not going great. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. In the comments below, let me know if you've read any of these books, what you've been reading this month, what your favourite read of the month is, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!